い、皆様こんばんは、こといでございます。今日は前回闇落ちエンドで終わったザ・スタンリー・パラボーの続きというか別エンド探し会でございます。前回ね、ビルが核爆発起こして語り部のおじさんが闇落ちしちゃったので、他のね、エンディングもないかなということで、それを少し見ていきたいと思います。あ、ちょっと待って。ボリューム下げよう。ちょっとスキップします。説明とも同じなんで。で、ちょっとごめんね。ミュージックボルも下げておかないと、この間死ぬほどうるさかったんで、OK。はい。これ1周目なんしまった。
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
怖っ。しかもあれエンディングではなかったっぽい。ロードしてないから多分。どうしていいかわかんなくてしばらく閉じこもってたら起きるだろうと思って待ったらしいけど、ゲーム始めて1分以内にあれ出すのマジやめてほしい。普通に怖いわ。中は普通。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
ちょっと普通に行こうか、今回。
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door. Just go. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
こっち行ってみていいかな。
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
死ぬらしいよ。死んだ。まだ死んでなかった。
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
さよなら。痛い痛い痛い痛い痛い痛い。嘘。
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator. as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
どういうこと？なんか、生きた。
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
どういうこと？なんでナレーター変わったの？ここはどこ？
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same.
死ぬのも意味がないって？
Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
あ、すでに死んでたのか。スタンリーコンピューター。はい。オフィスレイアウト。This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, so the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. もうなんか、スタンリーのために設計されてたんだね。で、二つの分かれたドアが、まあ、一つの、まあ、分かれ道だったと。まあ、そのままやね。コリドー、回廊。The pacing of the opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two door in a good time. なんか、いい感じのタイミングで、二つのドアがあるように、なんか、なくなった場所とかあったらしいよ。Filing cabinets。はい。オフィスコンピューター。誰だ業務中にソリティアやってるやつは。はいはいはいはい。The office。なんか博物館だね、ここね。ボタンサウンズ。A selection of the sound used through the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. キーボードの打音らしいよ。Credits。The Office。メンテナンスルーム。Early version of the maintenance room。なんかすごい博物館みたいになってんな、ここ。行ってないとこあるかな？大体行った？これ何？ Green Light. In September 1220, we submitted the Stanley Parable to Green Light values on Buff's process of wrapping game for Steam. The Green Light page had only a series of cryptic photos, which were still enough to win the committee's approval. なるほど。Steam に出すときのなんか資料かな？何これ？ Warzone。Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up in the battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. あ、なるほど。最初はゲームの最後、ナレーター vs スタンリーのなんかこう戦闘ゲーみたいにするつもりだったんだけど、あまりに雰囲気からかけ離れてるんでボツにしました。なるほどね。これは裏側ネタバレ感なのかな？Narrator emails. After the second trailer been sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these in further promotion materials, we never found the perfect use of them. Here are a selection of these emails. なんか、メールをくださいってやって、なんかナレーターにメールくださいプロジェクトみたいなのがあったらしいよ。 どっち行こうか。で、lounge. An early version of the lounge. あ、社員エリアか。The apartment timer. In the previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. あ、15秒で電話を取らないと別エンディングっていうのが一応実装されるつもりだったらしい、昔は。カーゴリフト。ああ、はいはい。あったね。うん。こっちはまだ行ってない？ Two options. ラウンジ。あ、そうだね。はいはい。Maintenance layout. The flow of hallway following the first two doors was important to get right. Since player really played them so many times, we discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. なんかこう、二つ行ってメンテナンスに行くためのルートをどうやるかみたいなことを考えたらしいよ。ミーティングルーム。はい。プロジェクターだね。戻ろうか。どうしようかな。こっちの奥行くか、先に。オフィス。広いね。あ、スタンリーの部屋だ。Stanley office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. The first was created in November 2011, the second in March 2012, and the third one is February 2013. こうなって、こうなって、こうじゃと。はいはいはいはい。天気いいね。ゲームデザインモックアップ。はい。This is a level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. なんかこんなんどうでしたろってデザイナーさんが書いてたやつらしいよ。カウントダウンルーム。はいはい。これね。モニタールーム、エレベーター。フリーダムエンディング。はカウントダウンデスク。出てないね。The game is now paused. エスケープメニュー。迷子になんな、これ。いった。いった。これ何？ゼンディングレバー。レバーらしいよ。ノイズ。Trailers. We learned four major teasers trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. トレーラー、ゲームトレーラーらしい。なんか意味深。こんなに引き出しがアピールされるゲームもそうそうないよね。先急ごうか。センディングモデル。あとはこっちか。フリーダムエンディング。ベリーファーストエンディング。はい。オフィスクロック。ボスズオフィス。はい。なんか AI が描いた絵3つみたいな感じ。エンプロイラウンジ。はい。アンダーグラウンド。ナレーターアウトテイクス。He one writing the voice of narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips for early takes that we were not using in the final game. なるほど。ナレーターさんの音声デモというか、ボツったセリフがここで聞けるらしい。大体見たかな？もうスタンリーはお前は最初から死んでいて 死には意味がないっていうなかなか面白いね。あ、これでエグジットなのかな。大体見たよね。よし、じゃあ、これ出るか。これで終わっちゃうのかな。
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Huh?
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not.
お互いがどれだけ
Sometimes
必要
these
かわか
things
るかって
cannot
言っ
be
てる。
seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it.
あ、やっぱ死ん
Don't
じゃう
let
んだ。
time choose for you. Don't let time
死んだ。あ、やっぱ死ぬやん。死んだ後はどうなるんですか。驚きの黒さ。リジウムゲームしたら終わっちゃったんだけど。これは、あれかな、積みエンドってやつかな。戻るね。もう2、3拍子どうにもなんなかったら。ダメだよね。ナレーターさん。あ、ダメだな。戻るか。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
さっきのエンディングもう一回行きたいんで、ぐちゃってなるタイミングで9を
When Stanley
9
came
回
to a
スケー
set
プを
of
押す
two
か。
open doors, he
こ
entered
れ
the
で何も
door
な
on
かっ
his
たら
left.
またちょっと考えます。サムネに良さそう。
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path.
なるほどね。ここでクイットトゥーメニューにしろと。どうしよっか。変わんないね、多分ね、やることは。まあ、一旦リジウ
Stop
ムゲー
now
ムしよ
and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
う。さよなら。はい。ということで、戻るか。どのくらいかな、見れるエンディングって。ちょっと
All
わ
of
か
his
んないな。
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
クイットしてもあんま意味なさそうなん
When
で。
Stanley came to a set of two open,
Yeah.
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no.
さてと、大体見たっぽいので、 これで終わりかな、多分。
All of his co-workers were
で
gone.
きること大体やった気がするんだよね。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
もしなんか他にこんなエンドがあるよっていうのがあればコメントで教えていただけると嬉しいです。特になければこれで終わろうと思うけど、なんか違うとこ来てないかこれ。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
合ってんな。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
よし、ということで、とりあえず無限ループエンドだということはよく分かったのと、ネタバレも見れたので、まあっていう感じかな。個人的にはナレーター VS スタンリー君のウォーバトルは見たかったですけど、ゲームに実装されてないらしいんで、それは妄想だけにとっておこうと思います。では、とりあえず、スタンリーパラボーは一旦これで終わりにして、また次回別のゲームでお会いできればと思います。お付き合いいただき
Stanley
ま
just
して
stood there doing
あり
nothing
が
at
とうご
all.
ざいまし
He
た。
seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
はい、ナレーターがうるさくなってきたんで、この辺で終わろうと思います。ご視聴ありがとうございました。